So as a student, how do you approach organic chemistry? Well, I can't tell you what's going to work best for you, but I can give you suggestions for what works for me. So when I was in organic chemistry, the thing that worked best for me were flashcards. And there were two categories of flashcards. First was the naming. The second was the reactions. Now the reactions were the far more useful one because I took organic chemistry with, but it depends on your instructor. Personally though, the reactions were the most important for me because that's what we were testing on. And that's typically what's tested on organic chemistry was how you take this and make this. So in terms of memorization, because there's a lot of this with organic chemistry, my best recommendation for you is flashcards. Now when I tutored organic chemistry, I also had this here. And this wad of papers is the whole bunch of different mechanisms and the whole bunch of different reactions I had to memorize in order to help students with their homework. So in terms of the most useful information you need to have for your flashcard, the name of the reaction, name of the reagent, what it does, so if it's Friedel's Craft, what the mechanism is, stereoselectivity, any special cases with it. Some of these things only work for like terminal alcohols or secondary or tertiary alcohols, certain types of aldehydes or ketones. So basically anything your book really goes in depth into, you need to write that down. But you need to be able to look at a reaction mechanism and go, oh, here's all the information that goes along with it. Now, the other thing in terms of practicing synthetic chemistry, go to your book, and honestly, this works surprisingly well for me. Flip it open to a page and look at a compound and say, how would I make this compound from, and if you see like a benzene ring, let's say you start with benzene, how do I make this from benzene? How do I do this? You may not have an answer, but the thought process of how I would start with something and create something else goes a long way to helping you starting to recall these mechanisms. Because you may have the flashcard and be able to go, oh, I need to do Baeyer-Villiger oxidation, and you may know everything about it, but you don't recall it when you start doing a mechanism because you don't think about it in that context. Now, the other thing I would also recommend is the Spectral Database of Organic Compounds, SDBS. When you start going through and you start trying to learn how to read NMR spectra, how to read mass spec, how to do analysis like that, pair up with a friend, get them to type in an organic compound, print out the spectra, the SDBS database is free, and then give them to your partner and say, okay, can you identify this compound based on this spectra? And they'll work it out and see if they can do it, and they need to do the same thing for you. Now, the reason why I say you need to get a partner for this, if you're looking at ethanol, you're gonna know it's ethanol, and you're gonna kind of cheat when you do the analysis. You're gonna reverse engineer why the answer is what it is. But if you're given a complete unknown from somebody who knows what it is, they know what it is, they can tell you if you're right or you're wrong, but it's gonna give you the ability to go through and really kind of work it out. So, organic chemistry students, these are my recommendations for you. Flashcards, if you can, create tables like this that summarize everything for you. Go through your book, try to figure out how to synthesize the compounds based on what you know so you get better at recalling what's useful for what types of reactions, and also pair up with someone. You really need to do organic with someone else. Go through the SDBS, identify compounds, give them to your friends, see if they can identify them. If they can't, work through how you would identify them. And that's my recommendations for you.